Good afternoon, everyone. It's Shamila Ramjawan coming to you from the Red Corner Chat. This afternoon, I got the pleasure of having my guest, Dr. Sheena on the show. And Dr. Sheena is a medical doctor, philanthropist, businesswoman, mentor, keynote speaker, a model, wife, a mother, and lots more. So we're going to get to know Dr. Sheena this afternoon. Hi, Dr. Ganesh.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm very good. The sun's come out, so I'm feeling much better.
Thank you so much for coming on the chat. I do know that you had to get a replacement for this afternoon to actually be here.
Yes, I did, yeah. But that's okay. My patients would be a bit upset, but that's okay. I don't mind because I've got a replacement doctor who's going to fill in for me with virtual consultations.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for giving me that time or giving us that time, because I'm sure you're going to inspire so many people today. Do you maybe want to take me through your background? Who is Dr. Ganesh? We just want to get to know you a little bit more.
Okay, so I grew up in KwaZulu-Natal, in Durban. And from a very young age, you know, I've always wanted to leave Durban, which is quite strange for people to hear. But I always had these dreams that, you know, I wanted to reach something that was just a bit higher and better than what was going on around me. You know, I come from humble beginnings. We didn't have much, and I knew that in order for me to become what I wanted to be, I had to step up my game, pull up my socks, and, you know, work really hard to become someone one day. And from the time I was 12 years old, I always knew I was going to be a doctor, believe it or not. That's quite strange, but I always knew I wanted to help people. I wanted to heal individuals. And I remember writing an essay at the age of 12 about me being a doctor. And yeah, so I always knew I wanted to do medicine, and there was so much competition to get into medical school at that time. And I used to do modeling, you know, as a young girl. And I started modeling by default, actually. But I had quite a professional career in modeling where I actually earned money out of it. And by the time I was in standard 9 matric, I realized that I can't even do that anymore. I need to like focus so much on my studies in order to get into medical school. And yeah, at the age of 18, with no money, no experience in life, I landed in the city of Johannesburg, and my life took off from there. I went into medical school, and I kind of like went underground then, you know, for a few years, in the sense that I dedicated all of my effort and time into becoming a doctor. And, you know, I just want to emphasize that, because I know a lot of young people, you know, want to achieve things, but they want to achieve it so quickly and, you know, overnight. And a lot of young people always message me and ask me about how I became what I am and who I am and all the success I've had. It was actually many, many years of hard work and being quiet. You know, I was actually quiet. No one knew who I was. I was busy quietly working to become who I was. So that's just a little bit about me. I'm born, my mom and dad, I've got 3 sisters, and we scattered all over South Africa. And yeah, that's just who I am. I've got 2 daughters, and I work as a medical doctor. And I also do I have lots of other interests, you know, my philanthropy work and all of the other things. But at the heart of who I am, I'm still the same Sheena, 12 years old, who wrote that essay about becoming a doctor. I haven't changed who I am. And it's quite evident the friends I have from high school and junior school are still my friends. You know, I still know everyone that I knew. So I haven't changed. I've been quite consistent in who I have become and who I was.
But you've just grown to be this giant because you do so many different things. I just want to backtrack a little bit. So this 12-year-old that wrote this poem and wanting to become a doctor, just take me through the challenges of growing up in humble beginnings, the whole acquiring 6 distinctions in matric and having a job? How did you do all of that?
I think it comes from drive and motivation. And when you grow up not knowing what's going to happen next or what the next step is going to be and whether you're going to make it to that next step because of economic challenges, you push yourself further. And I also grew up in apartheid South Africa. So things didn't come easy. There were lots of doors that were closed in my face. And I remember as a 14-year-old going to Pick n Pay and begging the manager to give me a job. And they said, I'm sorry, that's against the law. You have to be 15 to get a job. And so I waited. I was so bitter. And I waited 1 year because I needed to supplement the income that my parents made. I needed that in order to, and I also modeled, in those days to get 1,000 Rand for a show was like 1,000,000 Rand. And to get free clothes, all of those things were like wonderful things that happened to me growing up. But it was very challenging because they did come a point where I couldn't manage the Pick n Pay job. I couldn't manage the modeling, and I had to quit those two and just put all the effort into studying. So it was difficult because I was very young, I was naive, and I was inexperienced. But as time has gone on, I've obviously learned how to master, doing many, many things. And women, we really are multi-talented human beings. We have untapped talents, and we don't ever stop to actually look inside and give our craft a little bit of attention. And if we learn to start doing that, things will just start flowing for you. And yeah, that was me at 12, juggling a job, juggling modeling and studying. And I remember at times I would study till 2 in the morning for a test and have to wake up at 5 in the morning for a sunrise shoot. So it was tough. It wasn't easy.
Yes, and you still acquired those good results. Well done. So Dr. Ganesh, tell me about moving from Durban to Johannesburg, the big city, and studying here in Johannesburg. Take me through your medical career.
So it was difficult to say the least because I came into a city where I knew no one and absolutely nothing. And I had to now find money to pay for my rental. I was a young adult. I was only 18 years old, but I had to learn how to, find money to pay for my rental and my electricity bills and things which I didn't even know about before. There's just this fallacy amongst young people today that you have to have so much in order to, grow. And I had nothing. I actually didn't even receive any money from my parents to study medicine. I relied on all my bursaries and scholarships, and I had to finally take out loans. I was in massive debt by the time I finished medical school. And I owed so much money, and it was a very, very scary place for a young adult to be. I'm very studious, very academic, always dedicated all of myself, to my studying. I think I'm a pious person when it comes to medical studying. The only reason why I didn't complete my specialization that I wanted to do in internal medicine was because I became a mum, which was, a second major hurdle that I experienced in terms of being a doctor and a mum. Nothing prepared me for that. But I managed to get through medical school without ever deferring an exam, failing an exam. None of that happened. And that's another message I'd love young people to get, that, when you're doing something, do it with passion, give it your all. Yes, there will be failures along the way, but you have to pull yourself up again, and you've got to give it 200%. So yeah, that was med school. Also very, very tough, like 7 to 10 years of my life. Literally had no life. And then I got married at the age of 20, which was also challenging, to be a wife and to be a student. That was challenging too.
Yes, so I actually want to find out, how do you juggle? You have such a busy life. How do you juggle business and family?
So as you know, it might sound like really a complete banality or cliche, but I run my life based on, and my kids shook, they're probably going to laugh somewhere listening to this, but I completely run my life on schedules and timetables. And maybe I'm a boring person, but it's the way it works for me. The only way that you can probably deliver 200% is if you live by, you know, these obligations that you have and these timetables. I go to timetables to where I actually even have a timetable for dinner. I actually know what I'm going to cook when, and I prepare myself. That is how bad it is in my home. And I'm I'm a difficult boss, in the sense that, you know, I expect everyone to also fulfill the criteria of my timetables, be it at the practice or be it at an event I'm doing, or be it even mothering my children, which, you know, I mean, my children have actually lowered my expectations and brought me back down to earth and grounded me a little bit, to the sense that not everything can be in that structured way in which I've been living my life, which is good, because that's one of the cons of having that kind of lifestyle. And I've learned it via my children, but it's the way it's worked. It works for me. I also have a phenomenal team of women who work for me. And I've learned in life to delegate. This was one of my biggest problems growing up. I didn't know how to delegate. And so now I've learned to delegate, and I have a phenomenal team of women from my live-in domestic workers who are like mothers to my own children. I have to honor each and every one of them, because I cannot be who I am today if it wasn't for my assistant nurse, for my practice manager, for all of these wonderful women in my life. I would not be who I am.
Wonderful. I think I've picked up so many skills there. You know, being structured, organized, analytical, delegating. That's amazing. So I think that's really great messaging going out there to everybody. Can you maybe tell me a little bit about being on the front line with COVID-19?
So this has been, I think, the most challenging time of my job ever, in the sense that I've lost patients. And a lot of people, I'll let you in on something with doctors. A lot of people don't realize that we do share a very personal relationship with you. And, you know, we do cherish our time with you, which is probably why you wait so long in the waiting queue anyway. Everyone complains about how long we take with patients. But we do share a very intimate bond with patients, to the extent that we even learn from you. You know, like I learned from my patients about different sectors. I've learned about mining. I've learned about diamond polishing, firefighters, my patients who are soldiers. I've learned a plethora of knowledge. I've got so much from people. And so when something happens to you, even though we have to deliver bad news and we sometimes turn around and walk away, it doesn't mean that we don't suffer inside. I mean, I have come home and cried, and I've made that, you know, I've given that public knowledge that I've actually come home and cried when I've lost patients this year. And the biggest challenge we faced in family medicine is that there was a point where, like, I've had close to 500 COVID patients at my practice. And there was a point at which where hospitals were full, and patients that we were actually managing at home should have ideally been in the hospital setting, which was so challenging to monitor someone's oxygen saturation or their vitals and know how they're going to change in their home setting on oxygen and things like that, as opposed to them being in a very, you know, secure environment of the hospital. So that was challenging. And my second challenge is that I am unwell myself. You know, I have tumors in my lungs. I've got chronic lung disease. And I'm not supposed to work more than 2 to 3 hours at a time. I'm not supposed to work more than 2 times a week. And being exposed to such sick individuals, I had a lot of anxiety. I was scared. I was stressed out. There are practical and logistical things that happen in terms of wearing those hazmat suits. You can't even go to the toilet and pass urine. You're too scared to open up your suit. You can't have a sip of water. You're too afraid. You don't want to touch your mask. And then you got to do a sterilization process all over again. So those were challenges for us. In South Africa, we've never been exposed to airborne viruses before. So that was true. It has been, I'm not going to lie, it's truly been the most challenging experience I've had. I used to work in ICU when I was a junior doctor for 2 years. And that doesn't even compare to what I've experienced now. I mean, my locum, unfortunately, has got COVID and his wife passed away. And he got off, he's on oxygen. And so even my own colleagues have passed away. I've got doctor colleagues who've passed away. It's been a very, very sad, awful time for us.
Sorry to hear that. I know, especially with colleagues and patients, family, friends, we're just losing so many of them on a daily basis. But I'm really, really sorry about that. Dr. Ganesh, your family life and COVID-19, what sort of precautions are you taking at home? As a doctor now, you've got a job to do and then you come home. So what sort of precautions do you take when you get home?
I have to say, like, human beings, they actually respond so poorly to diabolical pandemics like COVID-19. And I mean, it's obvious that we will, but we usually take to economic downturn so badly and financial crisis so badly and disease itself so badly. And so I feel that it always takes small changes from large amounts of people to elicit huge effects. And I personally have been always had a policy in my home with hand washing and all of those things. So we were always following that because of my career in medicine. Now I have to sleep away from my family. I don't stay in the same room with everyone. When I walk in, so I take off the hazmat suit and detox myself at work. I have other colleagues who shower at work. I don't have the luxury of getting a shower at work. So I've got to come home and then I take off, I don't wear the same shoes that I wear at work as I do at home. And then at the door, I literally detox and undress and everything goes off and gets tied up into a bag. And then I get into the shower immediately. It's tough because my daughters are loving kids. They want to hug their mum and constantly hold on to me. And I've been a bit weary and said, I don't think that you should hug me or kiss me or touch me or, so that's been a bit difficult. And sleeping alone is quite lonely, but it had to be done. I also try my best not to involve myself in the preparation of food. So I will perhaps maybe cook, but all the cutting and chopping and everything is not done by me. So it's tough. And we wipe down and sanitize my entire home as I would in the practice. And it's not easy to be in a family with a doctor. It's terrible. It's not easy at all.
I can imagine. But I'm glad that, you're taking all the precautions. And I think with having your illness as well, it's quite dangerous for you to actually contract COVID-19.
Yes, no, absolutely. My doctors are very nervous about me being at work. So they are constantly in contact with me and constantly making sure that I abide by their rules and, not work more than 2 to 3 hours, taking regular breaks. And I'm constantly having my own tests and lung function tests and stuff to make sure, and constantly getting tested for COVID as well, to make sure that, I'm okay.
So
it's very scary.
Yes, I can believe that. So you've been in the limelight when it comes to media with Mela, VUCA Africa, Espresso, etc. Do you maybe want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I've been asked so many times if I have a PR agent or a publicist or someone who gives me all this information so that I can go and be out there. And I actually don't, and I never ever have. I don't know whether I've just been in the right place at the right time. I used to say I was lucky. And then, you know, a lot of people know I'm engaging with Oprah, and she said to me, I said to her once, I'm so lucky that I've met you. And she says, you are not lucky. Okay, you've prepared all your life and you were ready at the point of the opportunity. When the opportunity came, you were prepared. So don't ever say you're lucky. So I suppose I was prepared in a way. And all of that came about due to my philanthropy work, you know, and my philanthropy work started due to the fact that I struggled. You know, I struggled so much to get through medical school and pay off all my debts. And I also witnessed during my medical school training time, lots of very impoverished communities. And I always said, you know, the day that I can, I'm definitely going to make a change to people around me. And, you know, there's people often, you know, and I really don't want to bore people with platitudes of why you should be doing philanthropy work. You know, everyone will say it warms your soul, it fires up your synapses, you know, everyone talks about how wonderful it is. But, you know, philanthropy work should start with yourself. It starts firstly with you as an individual. Once you can take care of yourself, you then move on to taking care of your family. And then from there, I moved on to communities, the community I came from. And that's the way in which I went. So this is what I want to do. And then I started structuring it a bit more because I started wanting to touch on the lives of people in these specific aspects. And because I was doing this and doing it in my own pace and my own drive, it got noticed. And, you know, the media, obviously, you know, they found this to be quite interesting, that why is this person doing this? And, you know, I just also want to say that a lot of people today, and when I was doing philanthropy work, there were very few, this was over 10 years ago, very few people were doing what I was doing. You know, you go for a function or you go invited for like the Mandela Foundation over 10 years ago. I went as a patron. I was one amongst 5 or 6 people. And today we have so many people with foundations and doing philanthropy work. And I just want to say that, yes, I might have been in the media, but I really see all of you who do all that wonderful work. I see it, I appreciate it. And I don't want people to ever think that, oh, just because I wasn't interviewed or I wasn't invited. No, you must carry on with the wonderful work that everyone's doing. And you don't have to have money to do it. You know, you can change someone's life with your action, with your presence, and especially with skills that you have, skills that you were taught, skills, something you learned in your life. You know, if you're a baker and you bake and you're a phenomenal baker, you could teach people how to bake. It was simple things like that, and that all falls under philanthropy. And if you do things with passion, I think people take notice. People sit up and notice when you do things with passion. And that's what happened. And that's why, you know, my life story was featured. And when I was interviewed on Supersport, everybody was shocked about me being on Robert Morawa's show. But that was because I was doing an event for volleyball, which was very outside my comfort zone. But I learned so much in that process. And yeah, those were the reasons why I was actually completely on TV and in the media and, you know, all related to that.
Do you want to take me through some of your other projects? Because you do have very interesting projects.
Yes. I've actually started off mainly doing and pushing more health projects and incentives because obviously being a doctor. And then I broadened my outlook when I started realizing around me that there were other things going on. So one of the first few beneficiaries was the feeding scheme that I supported. And the Lunchbox Fund feeding scheme I supported was dedicated to feeding kids, school-going kids. And what struck me about that was the person who started the Lunchbox Fund, Topaz Green. She said to me that when she went to some of the schools, the children are actually separated, and they separated because some kids have lunch at school and some don't. And that just broke me, to think that young children have to go and sit under a tree somewhere away from their friends because they didn't have anything to eat. And that's what led me to support the Lunchbox Fund. I also started supporting the Breast Health Foundation. My late mother-in-law had breast cancer. So I had personal one-on-one time with a breast cancer sufferer. And that was one of the reasons why I got involved with the Breast Health Foundation. And I always mingled my fashion world and my medical world and put them all together into one. So some of my events that I would have would be a fashion show, and we would raise money like for the KwaZulu-Natal Blind and Deaf Society. So things like that, where I did a show with Vash and Sukan, and we did that 50 Shades of Black show for the KZN Blind and Deaf Society. And even with the Breast Health Foundation, I decided, look, I want to empower women. I want to teach women how to embrace themselves in terms of their sexuality, their skin care, their hair care, about their health. So we had these workshops for women, and we used those workshops to empower women, and we donated all the ticket sales to the Breast Health Foundation. So those are just a few. And then obviously I'm involved with the Oprah Winfrey school, where I give young women bursaries. This is very exciting to me. I met the lady who was the head of the foundation for the Oprah Winfrey School. I actually invited her to watch me model, which was quite funny. And she came to the show. I was shocked. She came to the show, and she was very interested in me. And she said, well, we have a problem at the school. Oprah provides these young women, you know, with a school, a place to live during schooling. And once schooling is over, these young girls have to end up going back to live in a shack in a rural area. And there's no way of them getting to university. And so that's sad. And Oprah wanted to engage with South Africans to change the lives of these young women. She wanted South Africans to take ownership of our young women. And she struggled, believe it or not. You know, nobody wanted to step up to the podium and say, hey, you know what, I want to be involved. It was mainly American companies. Wow. And I found that to be disgusting. I felt, no, we are South Africans. We don't always need the international community to save us. I'm going to get involved in this. And so I decided, okay, let me start. And, you know, I only started off by giving 1 or 2 girls bursaries first, because all of the philanthropy work that I do comes from money that I make myself. It's money that's generated out of my practice. And sometimes I don't myself have money to donate, you know, which people sometimes don't realize. I don't always collaborate with big companies and things. Every single donation I've given has been by myself. So I decided, and now it's been more than 10 to 15 girls who've received bursaries from me. And it's so endearing to read their stories when they write to me, you know, I'm in this year of study and I'm in that, and it's amazing. Like, I feel touched that I have actually changed someone's life. And recently someone accused me of doing philanthropy work on social media. I was accused as a tax break. And I must say that, you know, it's actually not the case. You know, it's just about giving someone a chance and changing their life around, because everyone deserves a chance. And we live in a country that is so economically unstable, number one. And secondly, we come from communities that don't have the same opportunities in life. It's a travesty, actually. And so therefore, I don't do it to get a tax break. You know, I do it because of a strong conviction and a belief. A lot of people also are scared to do philanthropy work because they are only able to do it once in their life, or once in the year, or once every 2 years. And that's absolutely okay. You know, obviously it's wonderful to have sustainable projects, but even if you do something once, you actually give that one person that hope that, you know what, I can step up, I can change, I can be someone great. When I was 18 years old and didn't have 1 cent to my name. You know, Pat Puvlingham, who was an attorney, quite a famous attorney, the late Pat Puvlingham, he saw my results because I was in the top, I was one of the top students in matric that year. And he didn't hesitate once to write me a check out for 3,000 Rand. Didn't know me from above, but he gave me hope. He changed me. He told me deep down inside that I see you and you will make it. And that's what I'm saying. So if you can do that for another individual, even if you did it once in your life, you've actually altered the pathway, the trajectory of that person's life.
Absolutely. Well done on that. Well, you're going to get the haters, and the haters are usually the ones that actually don't contribute to anything, any of our projects, or do anything in terms of social development. Well done. With all that you've done in communities, you've been recognized multiple times. Do you maybe want to take us through some of your top awards?
Yes. So, and I have to say something more about this because I have a lot of opinions about things, and people may completely disagree with me, but it's just the way I feel about things, and it's who I've become. Validation is important, and it's important to different people for different reasons. Validation to me pushed me to do better and to take my work to a whole new level. Getting awards also exposed me to a network of other very high achieving women, which was absolutely wonderful because that also pushed me to do more work and to become greater. But even having said that, I do want everyone to understand and know that even if you don't receive any award in your life, it doesn't mean or change the person that you are or what you are going to become. I'm definitely not defined by my awards. Yes, I've received this L'Oreal Women of Worth, which was an international award, and the Women of Wonder and Women Real Architects of Society. So many of these awards, but it doesn't define who I am, and it also doesn't define my capabilities in life. So I just want to give that message out to women. Yes, I have received awards, but even if you didn't receive an award in your life, it definitely doesn't make you look any better with the award as not.
Congratulations on everything that you've achieved. I see so many more. Well done. You are doing a lot. A real and true multitasker. Dr. Ganesh, your power message to the women out there. It's Women's Month. We're in the last lap of Women's Month. What's your power message?
I think my power message to everyone would be, don't live with fear. Don't live with indolence. And definitely don't put misplaced trust in individuals. Live by your true convictions. Be consistent, be perseverant, and strive for the stars. I mean, I met Barack Obama. Who gets to say that? Just strive for the stars.
I'm very jealous. I must admit that. But thank you, Dr. Ganesh. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing your life with us. You're doing so much, and I wish you everything of the best going forward. And I know that you are going to reach for the stars. Well done. Congratulations. And be safe.
Thank you. Thanks, Shamila. Thank you so much for having me in your red corner.
It's only a pleasure. Take care. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Bye.
Bye.